Hi there and welcome to Gaining Vision. I'm Melanie. Have you had an opportunity to subscribe to the channel yet? If not, take a second, hit subscribe, and please don't forget to like and share. Have you grieved? I think every one of us has gone through the stages of grief in our life. First of all, we automatically think about a death of a loved one. But in fact, grieving happens in a lot of different circumstances. Today I'm going to cover 3 as I talk about grief. So of course, grieving for somebody that we love who's passed away. Grieving if somebody we love or we ourselves have been diagnosed with an illness. Or if you've been acquired a disability later in life. And in each situation, we all go through the stages of grief. And I want you to understand that going through the stages of grief is a personal journey. There's no right or wrong order for you to go through the different stages. Everybody is different. And there's no set timeline for you to grieve. People might think they know what's best for you and tell you what you should be doing and how you should be feeling. But in fact, it's such a personal journey, it doesn't mean anything. But I do want to talk about the different stages and what they actually mean. So if you are grieving, you may identify with these. The first one, of course, is denial. So when you get the news that somebody's passed away, you're in denial. No, it can't be true. You must have wrong. The information must be wrong. Or if you've been diagnosed with a terminal illness, the results must be wrong. I need a second opinion. You're absolutely in denial. For myself, when I acquired my disability, I was in denial. I'm not blind. I can walk. Whatever denial looks like, it's just in the fact that you just don't want to accept what is real. This may happen at the beginning of the situation, it may be halfway through, it may be ongoing through the whole grieving process. But until you reach the final stage, denial will always be there. It's normal, it's natural to feel, and it's okay to feel it. The next stage is anger. You could be angry at the situation, you could be angry at the person who's passed away for leaving you, you could be angry at the doctor for giving you a diagnosis, you could be angry at yourself for things you could have, should have, would have done. I was angry at the whole entire world, the doctors, my family, the people of my life, and myself. Anger is a natural feeling to feel, and you may not feel it at the beginning, it may come later, and that's okay. Feel the anger, it's important. Yell, scream, stomp your feet, whatever makes you feel better. Get it out of your system because anger that stews can be unhealthy for you. The next stage is bargaining. This comes in different ways. Bargaining could be as simple as, I should have got a second opinion, I could have, or I will, or I did this, I should have, could have, would have, all those. Bargaining for me was, I used to bargain with God a lot. God, if you let me wake up in the morning and not have another stroke, I'll do this. I bargained with my family. If you help me do this, I'll give you that. So bargaining comes in different shapes for everybody. But usually it's in the mind of us, oh, if I had only taken better care of myself, I wouldn't have been diagnosed with this illness. Or if I had only made sure that my loved one went to the doctor more often. All those things. Bargaining is a stage we all have to go through, but really it doesn't help any because it's not going to change the reality. But it's okay to feel it and go through it. The next stage is depression. Now, depression has 2 layers to it. The first stage of depression is the worries. What is going to happen now? So if somebody passes away in your life, they used to take care of all the finances or used to bring in the money. How am I going to survive? What's going to happen to the kids if you're diagnosed with an illness? Who's going to take care of my family if I die? Who's going to take care of my pets? It also worries about, but when I acquired my disability, how am I going to achieve my goals? How am I going to get married? How am I going to survive? All of those things, that's the first stage of depression, and it's normal. It's a scary stage because we work ourselves up so much with the worries and the what ifs. It's important to really be rational when we're talking about the what ifs. Because the reality is, we'll be okay, we'll get through it. It just takes time. The second aspect of depression, of course, is the sadness, the loneliness, and the missing of the person. It could be the person who's passed away. It could be the depression of, oh my gosh, I'm going to die because of an illness you've been diagnosed with. Or the depression of, oh, I have to live my life now blind. Going through all those emotions of being sad and down and isolating yourself is normal. But it's one you don't want to get stuck in because you don't move forward with that. Don't ever deprive yourself from going through the emotions of the grieving stages. It's important to feel all of it. Some of us would rather not feel while going through the grieving stage. It's understandable. The final stage of grieving is acceptance. And not everybody gets there. It's one that takes time, and again, it's on everybody's individual timeline. For me, it took years to actually accept the fact that I had a disability and that I was still going to survive with it. Acceptance comes in different forms. It could be that aha moment. It could be just realizing that life is still going on. I'm loving it still. It's good. Whatever it comes in that shape for you, acceptance is a sense of freedom, a sense of new opportunities and new beginnings. Nobody likes to grieve, whether you're grieving for somebody you've lost and loved, or grieving for the person you used to be, or grieving for what may happen. The reality is that grief is something that we all go through, and we should go through it and feel every minute of it. Be careful if you're trying to advise somebody who's grieving of what they should do, because that's the worst thing you can do. Just be supportive. Be there to listen. Give perhaps some samples of what you went through, but reality is it'll be different for everybody. Don't ever tell about somebody that they're grieving for too long. I'm reminded of my Italian background and watching widows who've had their husbands pass away, and they dress in black for a year. That is just a tradition that they keep up. I'm thinking to myself, that seems like a long time just to mourn. But the reality is, who am I to say how long they should wear black or how long they should grieve? One thing we do want to be mindful of is watching that either it's ourselves or somebody in our family or friend circle that is going through grief for too long. That's when we want to step in and get them some professional help. And when I say too long, I'm talking about decades, because the reality is we don't know how long it takes somebody to grieve, but a decade seems a little bit extreme. Because after we've grieved for someone that we've lost and loved, they'll always be there as part of our memories. And if we have a diagnosis and we've grieved with a situation, you still want to live in the moment and enjoy the life you have left. And if you've acquired a disability and your life has changed, you have to grieve for the old person you were and accept the new person you become in order to be happy and move forward and enjoy and embrace your life. Grief is something that isn't talked about all that often either. So let's have a kind of conversation about the grieving process. There's lots of stages out there, and everybody goes through them differently. But don't be afraid to feel, to talk about how you're feeling, and to know that you're not alone. Until next time, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share, and I'll catch you next time. See ya!